Due to U.S. House Speaker Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, the Chinese military has been placed on high alert and will begin conducting targeted military activities. Separately, the Eastern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army announced that starting Tuesday night, combined military activities will be carried out close to Taiwan. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we'll talk about China's targeted military operations in Taiwan. So stay until the end of the video to learn it all. According to Chinese state media, on Tuesday, China said it would begin a number of targeted military activities in retaliation for U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's travel to Taiwan. As tensions between the U.S. and China increased, the Chinese Ministry of Defense declared that they would resolutely preserve their national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Chinese officials said that their Eastern Theater Command would conduct cooperative military exercises all the way around Taiwan, including joint sea and air maneuvers in its north, south, and southeast. A Chinese official added that starting on Tuesday night, China would conduct conventional missile tests in sea areas east of the island and long-range artillery tests in the Taiwan Strait. Tuesday's sharply worded statement from China's Foreign Affairs Ministry described Pelosi's trip to Taiwan as a major infringement of the One China principle and warned that it would have a grave impact on the political foundation of China-U.S. relations. Additionally, China claimed that the visit violated China's sovereignty and territorial integrity severely. The visit greatly jeopardizes the peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and sends the wrong message to the separatist movements pushing for Taiwan independence, according to the statement. The official statement said, China firmly opposes and sternly condemns this and has made serious remarks and strong protests to the United States. The statement continued, the government of the People's Republic of China is the only lawful government representing the entirety of China, and Taiwan is an inalienable portion of Chinese territory. Resolution 2758 of the United Nations General Assembly from 1971 unequivocally acknowledges this. 181 nations have established diplomatic ties with China since the People's Republic of China was founded in 1949 on the One China premise. The statement went on to say that Pelosi's visit and activities in Taiwan were a big political provocation to upgrade U.S. official exchanges with Taiwan, because she was the current leader of the U.S. Congress. Despite the threats, China and Taiwan have numerous reasons to avoid a fight that may result in tens of thousands of deaths, the destruction of their economies, and the possibility of a nuclear exchange with the United States and its allies. It is still widely believed that Beijing would continue to use economic incentives, diplomatic isolation, and military threats to try to impose its way on Taiwan. Taiwan's stock market has reached record highs. However, several factors could spur them to take action, including President Xi Jinping's desire to solidify his legacy by regaining lost territory, the public's declining support for any union with China and Taiwan, the emergence of pro-independence forces in Taipei, and the U.S.'s deteriorating relations with Beijing over issues like Hong Kong, the coronavirus, and cutting-edge technology. Based on military drills, equipment purchases, and strategy documents from the major actors, analysts like Easton have simulated scenarios of a hypothetical Chinese invasion of Taiwan for years. Most of them predict that China will attempt the rapid knockout in which the PLA overwhelms the main island before the United States can offer assistance. The military balance appears to be heavily in Beijing's favor. According to estimates from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, China spends nearly 25 times as much on its military as Taiwan and has a clear conventional advantage in everything from missiles and fighter jets to warships and soldier levels, not to mention its nuclear weapons. The upbeat account of events from Beijing goes something like this. Before an invasion, cyber and electronic warfare teams would attack Taiwan's financial system and important infrastructure, as well as American satellites, to lessen the amount of time that ballistic missiles would be detected. Chinese ships may also impede the supply of food and gasoline to Taiwan by harassing ships in the area. Rapid airstrikes would target and destroy Taiwan's key military and political figures, while also paralyzing local defenses, according to satellite photos. The Chinese military's training grounds contain full-scale replicas of targets like the presidential office building. The Chinese military has referred to some exercises as decapitation operations. The next step would be an invasion involving PLA warships and submarines traveling 80 miles, 130 kilometers, across the Taiwan Strait, before a battle for the Penghu Archipelago, which is only 50 kilometers from Taiwan, and is home to bases for all three branches of its military. Outlying islands like Kinmen and Pratas may be swiftly absorbed. A PLA victory here would give them a crucial launching pad for a larger assault. Thousands of paratroopers would ascend over Taiwan's beaches, while Chinese ships raced across the strait to breach defenses, seize key structures, and create beachheads from which the PLA could land tens of thousands of soldiers and win a decisive victory. Actually, any invasion is probably far more dangerous. Taiwan has been preparing for one for years. Despite its recent struggles to match China's expanding military edge, the main island of Taiwan has built-in defenses. Its rocky coastline offers few locations, with a big beach ideal for a large ship that could carry in enough troops to subdue its 24 million inhabitants, because turbulent seas and unreliable weather surround it. The rocky region is covered in tunnels built to protect important officials and could serve as shelter for rebels if China took control. In 2018, Taiwan presented a plan to improve its asymmetric capabilities, such as mobile missile systems that may evade detection, making it more difficult for Beijing to immediately eliminate all of its defensive arsenals. Before the Chinese invasion army reaches the main island, Taiwan's tens of thousands of surface-to-air missiles and anti-aircraft weapons might deal the Chinese invading force serious damage. The Taiwanese military has strengthened its fortifications around strategic landing areas and regularly holds drills to thwart the approach of Chinese forces from the sea and the air. In July, Apache helicopters, F-16s, and Taiwan's own locally manufactured fighter jets fired offshore, while M-60 tanks, artillery guns, and missile batteries pounded targets on the beach. These attacks took place near the western port of Taichung. Approximately 175,000 full-time soldiers and more than 1 million reservists would be waiting to oppose an occupation if Chinese troops managed to land there. According to the Taipei Times, Taiwan declared this week that it would establish a defense mobilization agency to ensure that its soldiers were better equipped for battle. The Communist Party's ultimate goal of portraying Taiwan as a thriving territory with devoted Chinese residents would be hampered by other choices for Beijing, such as a bombing campaign that killed hundreds of thousands of civilians. When analyzing an invasion scenario, the probable involvement of the U.S. is a significant wild card. Even though the United States terminated its mutual defense treaty with Taiwan in 1979 as a condition for establishing diplomatic relations with Beijing, American naval strength has long prevented China from any invasion. The Taiwan Relations Act permits the supply of American weaponry to maintain an adequate capability for self-defense. According to Ray Dalio, the billionaire founder of Bridgewater Associates, failing to act may damage American prestige on a par with the UK's aborted attempt to retake control of the Suez Canal in 1956. According to Dalio, that crisis marked the pound's collapse as a reserve currency in favor of the dollar and hastened the demise of the British Empire. The Chinese military vowed to thwart Taiwanese independence at all costs separately, says pro-independence Democratic Progressive Party was completely misjudging the situation, according to Ma Xiaoguang, a spokeswoman for China's Taiwan Affairs Office in Beijing. Despite Defense Minister Yen Dafa telling Parliament that there are no indications that the PLA is building up troops for an invasion, Taiwanese officials have also claimed that China's military danger is growing. Inoc Wu, a former officer in Taiwan's Special Forces who is now with the New Frontier Foundation connected to Tsai's ruling party, declared, "We just have to be ready for the worst. China is no longer biding its time or attempting to win over people. In the end, Xi would have to command any assault." Despite his refusal to renounce the use of force, he stated last year that peaceful reunification would be preferable. To become China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong, he used the phrase "a necessity for the great rejuvenation of the Chinese country in the new period" to justify abolishing presidential term limits. While an invasion entails significant dangers for the party, Xi has demonstrated his willingness to deal with territorial conflicts forcefully. In addition to militarizing disputed land features in the South China Sea and establishing re-education camps for more than 1 million Muslim Uyghurs in Xinjiang, he has disregarded international censure in suppressing Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. Analysts like Easton, who penned the book on China's invasion danger, are concerned by that record. He warned that Taiwan fighting alone could result in at least several 100,000 casualties for Beijing. But Xi Jinping might be willing to pay that price. We misjudge by underestimating the CCP's propensity for bold decision-making. With that, we've come to an end. See you in the next one.